Hi, I'm going to do an adoption update now. I just did a vasectomy reversal update, so please take a minute or 6, 7 minutes to watch that. It's really great. And we had great news with that, so watch that video. Okay, adoption update. I did a adoption update video, I want to say October as well. It's been a couple months. Right after he got moved into our new place. And I don't even remember, I'm sorry, what I had said in that video, but here's our update right now. We have been doing respite foster care. We've had several children. We usually have them on the weekends, usually. That's been a wonderful experience. We still do not have our permanent placement for ourselves. We are still trying to conceive. You can see that in the reversal video. As well as waiting on an adoptive placement. One thing is that I'm really learning about is that when you finally reach the point where you can start looking at waiting children, when you finally get through the big long journey that you think is the hardest part of getting your license, getting all the paperwork, getting your training, getting all of that done. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Forgive me. When you think that is the hardest part, be aware that it's not. The hardest part is the waiting. We love doing the respite care. It's not something we do on a regular basis, just as we're needed. But it's hard because you send out all of your, sorry, my cat is moving the camera, but you send out all of your information through either Adopt Us Children or the Adoption Exchange for waiting children once you get all your paperwork and everything done. Or you just wait for a placement through whichever county that you're licensed with. And they will send you referrals. And you're sent referrals of all different children that they have that are waiting or that will need a home now, whatever. And you say yes or no, I'm interested, I'm not interested, for whatever reason. And we have said yes to several children, and then it's like crickets. Nothing. They act really eager. Ooh, here's a referral. Now let's, if you're interested, we really want to see your home study. You send them your home study, and it's nothing. Wait. I did have some news. I've mentioned before a little boy that we have been waiting on for 2 years to see if we could get placed with. We found him through Adopt Us Kids. I was really disappointed, I have to say, with Adopt Us Kids and his placement worker, because we had tried for 4 times, but always kind of kept missing the review process due to a delay in our paperwork every time. For 2 years, no, 2 years, not 3 years, 2 years, we really had prayed and hoped that this could be our son. We watched him go on and off the list. We finally got sent our home study, and I heard nothing for a month to 6 weeks, and finally I really didn't want to see him come back on the list if he wasn't going to be placed with us. We got a call back, and they had decided to go ahead and leave him in the foster home that he was in. For whatever reason, the foster family suddenly decided after 2 years that, or I don't know the exact time frame, but it was a really long time, that they wanted to adopt him. Took him long enough. I mean, why put him on the list at all if the foster home he is in is going to adopt him? Now, that being said, I'm very happy for him because this little boy has been in care for a while, and that's his family, and he's very attached to them, and I'm so happy that he doesn't have to go through the trauma of moving, that can be his forever home. However, it's emotionally kind of a roller coaster when you want to adopt a child that they advertise as waiting, but really they're not available. And this is not something they're going to tell you usually. So I'm really disappointed in that aspect of the foster care adoption process. And there's kind of different foster care or foster parents. You have intake, or, where you take a baby for, it might be 24 hours, or a child for however long. Then they get placed, in like a transitional foster home. Then they may placed in a home where they're going to wait until they see if they're at TPR, or temporary parental rights, or termination of parental rights, not temporary. Termination of parental rights. It's convoluted. And then there is the final home, the adoptive foster home. So you're really last man on the totem pole. We were referred a 6-month-old baby. It's been 3 or 4 months we've been waiting. And they've really been dragging to decide if, we were referred his profile, and if we were interested, we sent our home study, blah, 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 blah. And I'm told we're still in the consideration part of it. But to me, the thinking is backward. They want to wait to place him in his adoptive home. They have started the termination of parental rights, it's my understanding. However, for me, during this critical time, he is bonding. And so if you plan on putting him in an adoptive home, go ahead and put him in that foster adoptive home. So while he's, you know what I'm saying? Instead of waiting. But they're going to wait until he's already bonded with the foster home that he's not going to stay in, and then move him. It's really, that is one of the ugly sides to foster care adoption. And I hate to say that it's an ugly side, but it is. Because as an adoptive family, they're telling you, well, you may get this kid in a year. In the meantime, this child who's not going to stay in the home they're in for sure, they will either go back home, but if they've already started termination of parental rights, there's a huge likelihood that they're going to go ahead and be adopted out. So why wait? Go ahead and place them in the foster adoptive home, so that in the likelihood that they will be adopted, they can stay in that home. Go ahead and match them with the potential adoptive family. I understand that, if we got this child and the process is still going on of the parental rights being terminated, that he may go home. But I would rather have him with the chance of a maybe than them leave him in a foster home for him to get a regular foster home that won't adopt him, that will leave him in that home to get attached to the foster mom who he will not get to stay with, and then traumatize him further in a year from now when he's a year and a half, 2 years old versus being 9 months. I don't understand that logic. So that is something I'm having to come to terms with. Another thing, I could go on and on about all of those issues that we are finding out about and that we have already known some about. Here's something that I'm going to talk about. A friend of mine is a great writer, and she has a book published. And I'm not going to go into all of that, but I have taken her advice and the advice of some friends. And because it's been 17 years for my husband and I, it's been a really long journey, I am writing a book about our adoption journey. It's not something I really was going to talk about till the book was done, but I feel like I really have a lot to say about our journey to start a family through infertility and through adoption. So I'm going to keep you guys updated on that. I may go ahead and start doing some little videos about the process and the progress in my experience of writing the book about our adoption and infertility journey. Because there's things that I have found, you can get adoption books that will talk to you about the process, basically. But they won't tell you what it is like from an emotional standpoint and from the parent's side. And things that, they don't tell you. You're not usually told about hidden fees. You're not usually told about interstate compacts. And, they gloss over it, but they don't really talk to you in detail about that. They don't tell you in your training, at least not in our training, which I'll get to that, and just read the book when it's done. I'll tell you all about that later. But they don't tell you things like when you are inquiring on a child, okay, what the process is really going to be like, the waiting period, anything like that. They do not tell you when you get your training and your licensing, you know, wow, I just don't even know where to start at the things that they don't tell you. That you cannot usually go out here and work with different counties and different states. Sometimes there's exceptions to that. Thankfully, the county that we're working with does accept placements from other counties and other states. But, you know, the problem with our first agency, foster care agency, is that they said that, yeah, we place children from all over the United States, blah, 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 blah. You'll see that in other videos. Turns out they didn't. They only worked right here. They don't tell you that a lot of the social workers, when you're reading the descriptions on these children, will not disclose everything that is going on with the children. That is a whole nother video I could talk about. We've had a few families that we know of been placed with a child. They were told the child was fine or only had 1, 2, and 3 issues. Turns out they had 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, which you sort of expect as a foster parent. Take whatever the social worker tells you about that child and triple it. Just automatically in your head know that if they tell you a child has this issue, but it's only mild, you may as well assume it's going to be severe. It's better to, you know, hope for the best, but plan for worst case scenario and how you're going to need to help that child through whatever emotional or physical issues, mental, whatever they're going through. So you're not surprised. We have seen from a couple of families that we know of at least 2 or 3 in the last few months adoption interruptions because the families were not prepared. You know, they wanted a child very badly, but they were not given all the details on the child's background, which is and by no means the child's fault. It is a social worker's fault. And it's not all social workers. Our worker is wonderful. But we have seen some questionable things out of some other counties, some other states. There's just so much I could talk about that. And I'm really off from our adoption update per se. We have no permanent adoptive placement. We are doing respite foster care. That is where we are at now in the process. And we love that part of it, but we are just really hopeful that we get our adoptive placement soon. That's all for this moment. I'm really excited to work on my book on the experiences that we have had through the adoption and foster care system and with trying to start our family. I'll give you more information on that on another video when I get a little bit further along with it. So there you go. Look for the another adoption update video, hopefully in the next month or 2. I just don't know. It's just as something happens. And if you have any questions or anything and you want to email me or respond to the videos, that's great. Any input, I'd like to hear about other people's experiences who are going through the adoptive and foster care process. So there you go. That's where we're at. We are a little bit further ahead than we were a few months ago, but not that much. So it's just a really slow process. That's the other thing that is, I mean, we've tried for 17 years through international adoption, domestic adoption, you name it. So we know that it can take a long time. They should tell you it takes so long, though. I mean, and they do say, oh, 2 or 3 years. Psh. You mean, it can be a really long time. So think ahead. Be prepared for the wait, or it will devastate you. You know, I feel very worn out by the adoption process. So it's going to wear you down. So be prepared for that. But, you know, it is rewarding when you bring a child into your home. It really is. Even if it's just for a weekend or a day. It's really a blessing to have that privilege to be able to care for those children. I'm sorry, I'm tired, so my words are running together. But it is a blessing to have that privilege of being able to be there for a child in need, if only for a day. So it is worth it. All right, I will update you guys later.